Well, good day, and we welcome you to this chunk, this slug of Moments with Dr. Steve. It is my Tuesday. I don't know what day it is for you, or what time it is, or how or where we find you. But on Tuesdays, we deal with and dive deep into the Writer's Covenant, which is this great piece of work that I created because many people ask me, how do you write? And so I created a prescription, a remedy. It is a step-by-step guide for how you can write the great piece of literature or pieces of literature that are locked inside of you. Now, the truth is that the Writer's Covenant is a resource. It's a guidebook. It's a series of channeled progressions that bring you to the place that you can write the story. Now, what is it like to be a writer? People ask me that all the time. And so today, in this chunk, this segment, this tiny sliver of Moments with Dr. Steve, we're going to talk about what it is like for me to be a writer. Well, ideas just show up. That's the first thing. They're unannounced and they're declarative, and they have these kind of ribbons around them, or they have barbed wire on them, or they have spikes, or sometimes they're like nasty little viruses that just kind of cling to you, and sometimes they're like, dryer sheets that hold on to sweaters, but they just show up. And they're unannounced, and they're declarative, and they certainly do not let you, just push them to the side. Then characters just show up. They're unannounced, and some of them are talkative, some of them are naive, some of them are nuanced, some of them are mean-spirited, some of them are homespun, some of them are naughty. Almost never are they nice. The characters just show. And I see them, and I have to deal with them because they are pesky little creatures, and they're not always humans. And sometimes they're ideas, but they absolutely are here, and they have a message, and they have an intention, and they are always knocking at me. The characters are present. Then plot twists show up. My brain is constantly involved in half a dozen at any given time. Riddles that move in and out of my consciousness that I'm working to solve, depending on the storyline or the piece of literature that I'm creating, because the plot twist, the idea's complexity is always there. It never goes away. Setting. Sometimes these show up and they're bucolic, and they're, full of, these beautiful hydrangeas, and they have these beautiful elm trees, and they have these gorgeous cedars, and these tall redwoods, but many times, and most times, they're dark and barren, and they're desolate kind of moonscapes. That's what happens in the setting show. And I do my best to kind of craft them exactly as I receive them. Religious stuff. I'm a faith person, and so there's this gnarl of religious interpretation and intention that I work hard to mix into the tale without it being preachy, and I don't like moralistic tales. So I refrain from building moralisms because I think those are yawns, and I don't think they have any's a big word, but they just don't interest me. Let's say it like that. Relentless. The stories and the characters and the ideas and the combative scenes and the plot twists and the complexity of the storyline, it never lets up. There's never a day that that these things are going on in my head. Now, mind you, there's a rise and a fall, there's an ebb and there's a crest. This happens always, like the morning and evening time come. But the stories and the characters and the scenes and the plots, they just keep showing up. Unsettling. There were many years I tried to just ignore these things, and I tried to push them away, and that was awful, because then it just made me agitated, and it just made me feel like more and more of a failure, until I realized that these ideas, these settings, these characters, these people, these these storylines, that these were for me. And as I settled and became productive and I became on purpose and I began to write these things a piece, and this internal engine began to drive and dictate the outcomes and established their own rhythms in my life. And I have kept these rhythms now way into 40 years in clocking vision. Now is when visions arrive. Visions come in all kinds of ways to all kinds of people, but writers gain vision because they have clarity of thought, because they have sat down in a seat and they have worked it out through the click-clacking or the penmanship or through whatever means they have of communicating. And then time on the mountain. As you spend time on the mountain, you become Mahatma, you become teacher, you become the enlightened one. And being a writer is then the single most sublime and eternally satisfying experience in the entire world. I believe that. And I believe that right now, common humans like myself, I'm a common human, are getting this expansion of information that God is downloading. So you pay attention. Start writing. Go to saintalegius.org, saintalegius.org, and pick up a copy of the Writer's Covenant. Start to work through it. You will be amazed at what happens in your life as you do so. Well, I am Dr. Steve Bonenberger, and this is Moments with Dr. Steve. Till next time, travel far